The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Oh yeah, that's right. Flesh Wound After Dark returns. I am your host, Flesh Wound Dan, joined by producer Todd. Todd, how goes it today?
Chilling.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Well, we're about to see if Shannon Whirry can step to Shannon Tweed. The ultimate battle, some would say, the ultimate battle between the two erotic thriller icons. There might be some others that you
I was
might
just
put
say
in
there's
that.
a few more.
Some more contenders to the crown, but definitely two of the big heavy hitters. And we are discussing the Animal Instincts trilogy tonight.
So would you put those two on your Mount Rushmore of erotic thrillers?
You got to make room for the as well. So it might just be those two, and yeah, everybody else is just screwed. So
I think you could
I
figure out
don't.
8. I mean, 4.
Yeah, we can maybe make that work. We can maybe make that work. Shannon Whirry might edge Shannon Tweed out, if you've seen these movies. So yeah. Thanks again, guys, for body chemistry. You guys obviously loved that one, and indecent behavior. Also doing very well. We really appreciate it, and we'll keep bringing these to you. We'll have some more obscure ones at some point, some that you maybe have never even heard of, because man, were they hammering them out around this time period. And yeah, well, with that being said, we'll get right into it with our first film of the evening. I have some background on some of the actors and everything as well, but we kick it off with 1992's Animal Instincts, directed by Gregory Dark, who I'll talk about here in a moment. So in this one, a cop videotapes his wife having various sexual encounters to spruce up their marriage. However, they soon land in hot water when a mobster learns of their marital activities. All right, so there is some crossover with some films we've done so far, and that is The Man Who Never Said No to a Script or a Bottle. Jan Michael Vincent, this time playing Fletcher Ross. Smaller role this time, but yeah, man, he was in a bunch of these. I actually forgot how many erotic thrillers that he actually did. But let's first talk about the icon herself, Shannon Whirry, who plays Joanna Cole. This is her franchise. And when did you first discover Shannon Whirry? Was there a particular movie for you that first put her on your radar?
Honestly, I don't have one like that I remember exactly for. It might have been this one, but I mean, if we're doing erotic thriller, but I do remember her from Out for Justice also.
Yes. Also,
So
one that people forget about. It was kind of one of her last big things. Me, myself, and Irene. She is the one that Jim Carrey sucks her titty.
there you go.
So, that is Shannon Whirry. So if you're like just into like mainstream film for some reason and you clicked on this, yeah, that is Shannon Whirry. She's the one who got her titty sucked by Ace Ventura. Um, Maybe her biggest mainstream claim to fame. But this one, the first Animal Instincts, also kind of a theme. This one's actually star-studded for an erotic thriller. Maxwell Caulfield, who plays David Cole, her husband. You may or may not know that name, but man, did that guy have a hell of a B movie career. He was in everything. He was in a lot of stuff. Of course, Jan Michael Vincent, as I had mentioned, of Airwolf fame. Delia Shepard, who plays Ingrid, one of Joanna Cole Shannon Whirry's lovers in this. She also has been in a lot of stuff. But we get some big names in David Carradine, who plays the heavy in this one, William Lamberti, the seedy strip club owner. We also get John Saxon, who's basically just a cameo towards the very end, which I thought was really funny. I kind of random, but again, this is 92. So you have Fatal Attraction that was a smash hit, and at this point you got Basic Instinct, which that really changed the game for erotic thrillers. That was a massive, massive hit. For those of you who forgot, if you were around at that time, I mean, Basic Instinct was a household name, and what a steamy movie too. If you never sat down to watch Basic Instinct, that one was an eyeful. I still remember the leg crossing scene. Like you did not see something like that in a major Hollywood movie at the time. That was something. So this was a huge hit on video. This was, as far as erotic thrillers go, I know that this was a really successful movie that did insanely well off of the back of Basic Instinct, which I believe this came out. Obviously, I'm assuming after. Of course, it's the same year, so who knows? It may have already been in the works, but certainly piggyback that success. Now,
The title, the white box, even there's a lot. Even if it wasn't planned to be, it became one.
yes, and also our director, who I find his career fascinating, Gregory Dark, of course, is a triple X director. That's what he was known for, what he started out with. Uh, Famous for, if you're into, you know, sort of golden eras, more post golden era titles, New Wave Hookers, White Bun Busters, which has the
Oh yes,
funniest theme song ever. I think you can still hear it on YouTube. Todd
We
knows exactly what I'm talking
we
about.
used to play that all the time on the old radio show.
The White Bun Busters, the White Bun Busters. It's awesome.
Dan's gonna get us a copyright strike for singing.
I think I might be good. I think you can have up to like 5 seconds. I don't think went over it. But no, like an absolute icon, the Crease Master. He did some of the Devil and Miss Jones sequels. But he was one of those guys who was able to he started doing a lot of soft core, obviously, with Animal Instincts and Sins of the Night, usually under his his alternate name, Gregory Hippolyte. That was usually what he directed these movies under. Still did hardcore during this period, without a doubt, but he was one that managed to start doing music videos for everyone from Linkin Park to Britney Spears, Mandy Moore,
Onyx.
Outcast, Exhibit. I mean, you name it. The dude did it all.
Well, you know, rappers are gonna want to work with the porn director.
This is true, and we will talk rappers at the end of this
Oh
show.
yes, but Todd's new favorite rapper.
I figured you'd like that. I didn't know if you remembered that or not, but we'll get to it. Really odd though, because he gets See No Evil, the slasher film starring Kane for WWE Films. He does that in 2006. And I don't know that that one lit the box office on fire, but it had modest success. You know, it was enough to warrant a sequel years later. But he doesn't do a whole lot after that, really. He did a few more music videos. He did a film called Little Fish, Strange Pond. And then he was kind of just done, and he hasn't done anything since 2009. Really odd. I kind of thought, man, that's kind of cool now if this guy is going to do Hollywood movies after being an adult film for so many years. But a very talented director. And so this one does benefit from the big names. David Carradine is an absolute sleazeball in this. Jan Michael Vincent, still somewhat coherent at this point. If you get later into his career, it starts to get a little more and more sad. There's a lot of Jan Michael Vincent stories out there. He kind of slowly starts to go full John Carradine, where they're just more or less propping him up and holding up the cue cards. But Delia Shepard is Ingrid. Shannon Whirry's one of her lesbian lovers in this one is really good. Now this one is very sex heavy. In fact, really kind of, maybe you could argue, more soft core, like full on soft core, rather than having too much of a story. The story is pretty light in this one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot that going in. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Like body chemistry is like an erotic thriller. The nudity to plot ratio, I mean, it definitely favors the plot. This one, and this is not, I'm not complaining about this. This is a great highlight of Shannon Whirry's body. If you're a breast man, you're not going to have any complaints. I'll just put it that way. She is a busty beauty who is still gorgeous to this day at 58 years young. And in this one, like I said, it's kind of weird because it is kind of more full on softcore, but you do have these moments where David Carradine's being a creep. It's got the typical very thin erotic thriller story. Yeah, like very, very she feels unwanted, and he kind of wants that danger of and excitement of everything, and very, very light on plot. So depending what you want out of these kinds of movies, it depends. I really did like Maxwell Caulfield. I thought he was strong, much stronger than you would get from softcore going forward, particularly post 90s, where they didn't care about plot anymore. But I did enjoy it, but this is strictly highlighting Shannon Whirry's body. So know what you're getting into. What did you think of the original, Todd, revisiting it?
Yeah, I'm kind of where you are. I forgot that it was a little bit more softcore than erotic thriller, and that kind of, I don't want to say disappointed me, but it's not what I remembered, and it's been 20 years since I think I've watched this trilogy, at least probably 25. But with that, it's still a good time. I mean, if you're not attracted to Shannon, that may not be the one for you, but
I doubt you wouldn't be. I mean, we'll see, but I think that's kind of universal that you'd be attracted to Shannon Whirry. Did this foreshadow kind of this current obsession with cucks? Because they all kind of have that, like, man, it's not exciting anymore. It's like, let me film a bunch of people railing my wife.
It was the 90s.
I like when he catches her, and the dude just the TV repairman, the Fabio looking motherfucker, when he just walks in and like just kind of catches him, he's like, oh shit, and he just runs away, and he just like no kind of like, how dare you, just immediately starts like railing her right there in the bed. I don't feel like it would usually go down that way, but yeah, it does. We also get, as I mentioned before, that steamy girl scene with Shannon Whirry and Delia Shepard, who plays Ingrid.
And no complaints from me.
There you go. Absolutely. I don't know how you could. Like I said, some of these, I always repeat this. I think I've repeated it on every show. It depends if you grew up with them. Some of you may look at these and just again think, oh, I just want to see the titties. Well, then you might like this one.
That's what I was going to say. There's 13-year-old Todd and Dan, 5 stars easy on this one.
Absolutely. 5 stars and 5 empty Kleenex boxes for sure. And yeah, it all kind of comes full circle, but all the plot developments and the conclusion at the end, it seems all like just kind of irrelevant. It's like, yeah, I guess we gotta put a
This
period at the
is
end.
100% perfect for Gregory Dark. This is a porn plot without the hardcore fucking.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
The music too, like in these erotic thrillers, it's very like this classy kind of music.
Saxophone heavy,
Sax,
1992.
very sax heavy.
God,
Like when she meets the couple who have this like Victorian fantasy, they're dressed up in like the Victorian outfits, and it's just like, ooh, it's like some of that it might be a bit dated for some of you, but I don't know, I like it. These films really take me back to those early, 90s cable days where you just come across these on Cinemax and record it onto a videotape, which I wish I saved all that stuff because I would have had all the real sex stuff that you can't find anywhere anymore, at least most of it. But having said that, it does kind of all tie up. You can't spoil these movies. It all kind of comes full circle at the end. John Saxon has a little random cameo out of nowhere.
great,
I'd
great
love to
stuff.
know. Yeah, I'd love to know because that really felt like a favor or he knows somebody. Or maybe it's like the New Jack XPW thing where Gregory Dark just gave John Saxon like a let him into the warehouse and he's like, I will take between the cheeks, the crease master, and give me 2 of white bun busters. And wore out the last one. So pretty much that's the way it goes. But once again, I'm gonna say this. Both beautiful women. Personal preference, I go Shannon Whirry over Shannon Tweed. I don't know about you, and that's a tough one.
That's a hard one. I think I need a few weeks to figure that one out.
That's fine.
I'm not. I can't say you're wrong. I can't say you're right. Although you know what I'm going to say. I think growing up in this era, I expected a lot more of these women growing up, and they're not around as much as you'd think. I expected a lot of quicksand from the '80s television shows. I expected a lot of loose moraled women in the business world.
Yeah, everything can be solved through random sex on a pool table, and it's all good.
Throw the sax music on.
Yeah, just I don't know what's wrong with me. It's like I'm gonna get passed around from guy to guy and see if I can work out my shit. All right. So what do you rate this one, Todd?
For the original, I'm a 3.5. I still have a good time with it, but it is a little loose on the plot.
It's very loose on the plot, but again, if you're in it for the steamy scenes with Shannon Whirry, yeah, 3.5 sounds good to me too. And yeah, and you get to see some at one point big mainstream actors just randomly show up in this. I'm sure David Carradine was having a blast. They probably just saw Shannon Whirry and just said, I'm in. All right. So moving along to this time, 1994, also from director Gregory Dark, Animal Instincts 2. Now, just to clear up a little bit of confusion with this movie, because it is a little bit confusing. So it was Animal Instincts 2 from 1994, and the dates are what you want to go by. It was released as Animal Instincts 3 in the UK because a film from 1993 called Body of Influence with Shannon Whirry, not playing the Joanna character though, that was put under the title Animal Instincts 2 because to cash in, because Animal Instincts was a huge hit on video. So that led to the third actual Animal Instincts film just being called Animal Instincts The Seductress in some territories. So basically we're just reviewing the official trilogy because Body of Influence, she's not the same person, and it wasn't everywhere. It was just overseas.
I'm sure we'll cover that one. There's some other stuff from her
Yeah.
we'll be covering for sure.
Yeah, I think we're gonna cover a lot of ground on After Dark this year for sure. So there you go. That's if you're confused. So 1994, once again, director Gregory Dark, and in this one, a divorcee has flashbacks of her life. While unknown to her, her next door neighbor, a security expert, plants video cameras all through her house so he can spy on her and fulfill his fantasies. So yes, another voyeur theme. Once again, it's the 90s. Well, at least in the movies, you could be like basically a complete perv sexual predator, and at least for a portion of the movie, also be like the romantic lead. Uh, which I think is hilarious. But we also had, I always say, anybody criticizing these movies, overboard. Kurt Russell, Me Too's Goldie Hawn in Overboard, and there's no doubt about it. So
Greatest romantic comedy ever made.
I love Overboard, but goddamn, like would that not happen today? I
They
didn't see.
remade it.
I was gonna say I didn't see the Anna Faris one, but
I didn't.
I guarantee he wasn't.
They reversed
fortunate.
it though.
Oh, they did. It was okay. So did she Me Too? I can't remember the
I
actress.
haven't watched it, so I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I'll get it in before the next After Dark to let you know.
Just After Dark, Overboard, double feature. She does have Goldie does have the thong scene in that, so I'm gonna argue that it might qualify. But anyways, so in this one, once again, returning to action is Shannon Whirry as Joanna Cole. This one is even more 90s. Woody Brown, who plays the security expert slash pervert, was also Danny in The Accused, which was one of his big movies. He was also in Alligator 2, The Mutation, also in Secret Games 3, also directed by Gregory Dark, which I think will tackle those movies as well. They're a little lesser known than these. And yeah, a lot of weird 90s stuff. Like, I don't know how a guy that installs security cameras lives in such a nice house. There's a lot of, it's like the Friends thing. Like they're normal people living in like a multi-million-dollar fucking apartment, but gotta overlook that. This one kind of follows. I think there's actually maybe just a little more plot in this one, but this trilogy really is more about the bump and grind than the plot. And as far as like big names, we do get a very, very small appearance from Bobby Phillips, who I'm a big fan of. Not really known necessarily for softcore, but some of you out there could check out TC 2000 with Billy Blanks, which Vinegar Syndrome put on Blu-ray. She also did, and it's a shame because I think it was like one of those TV movies meant to become an actual show called Chameleon. She did 3 of those. It was kind of like a Dark Angel sort of thing that came out around the same time. And she did the TV circuit, did some Don the Dragon Wilson stuff as well. Really talented, really beautiful, and she never really hit it big, which is a shame. Because I always really enjoyed her quite a bit. I like Woody Brown here. I think he's really good. The again, like up to a point, he's kind of the romantic lead, and yet he's doing all this fucked up shit. Like he's just filming, and I think he may have even had better chemistry than even Maxwell Caulfield had in the first one with Shannon Whirry. This one, once again, very, 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 very nice highlight of Shannon Whirry's assets. It's maybe a little bit more plot friendly, I suppose, but barely. I think they could have had a little more tension with the wife, maybe involved her more. This one is not just Shannon Whirry. We do get a lot of skin from the wife character as well. It's not star-studded at this point like the original was. Maybe by 94 that was starting to die down a little bit. Um, you
Or
know,
honestly, they had a hit on the first one. They didn't need to pay the extra people.
yeah, that's a good point too. You didn't necessarily need like well, even going back to Indecent Behavior and some of those films, you didn't need like a James Brolin or
Right.
somebody like that to sell the movie. And this one does, much like the others, the plot, it doesn't really escalate until towards the very, very end, where it's like, okay, we gotta wrap this up with some kind of a plot moment. But very steamy. The moments where she's kind of performing through him through the camera and everything. If you're into like the voyeurism stuff, that works. Not gonna lie, I don't love this one, but I'm still entertained by it for what it is. Um, and yeah, I think it could have used a little more at the end. What did you think, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more of the same, but we do get to see a ghost cucked, so that's a first. Spoiler. But no,
Spoiler.
but no, I mean, yeah, it's more the same. So this is one like watching it back to back doesn't no favors. Like if
Yeah.
you would have watched this one, then a couple years later when it came out. So I mean, I still had a good enough time, but the first one so far is where it's at.
Yeah, it may not have been you, but I know I like messaged somebody and I just said I'm having a great time revisiting these, but sometimes when you watch like three in a row, I'm just kind of tittied out. Like that's a thing that can happen. It's
Wow,
like
we got breaking news now. Dan has gotten tittied out.
tittied out. Yes, we're gonna just do like Disney movies and Bloomhouse movies from here on out. It's gonna be no titties. I'm just tired of them, Todd. I'm gonna cut a promo. Macho Dan's gonna cut a promo on titties next show. We'll save it. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say about this one. It's well acted once again. Um, Things do start to get crazy after this one. I'll just leave that as a teaser for the third one. But yeah, Woody Brown, though, I think was actually a really good actor. He's another one, was in some big things, never quite hit it big. And when he gets a little more sinister, too, I'm like, that's a good villain as well. And I'm trying to place him in The Accused exactly. I think he
Yeah.
was one of the main.
This is when we need our accused expert Pugs to tell us exactly.
Pugs will, yes. I
During the
believe he might
greatest
have.
scene, he was up in the left-hand corner.
I believe he may have been, her on the pinball machine. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a minute since I've watched The Accused, but
I know Pugs is ready for a new comment, a new watch.
And full nudity again in all of these. So yeah, you get to see everything. All right. So on that note, I'm a 2.5 on this one. This one's just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong, nothing great. It's an entertaining watch. Yeah, it's in the middle.
Absolutely. All right. Now we're going to get fucking crazy.
96.
Yeah, because this one's a little different. A lot different. So once again, Gregory Dark returning as the director. We get somebody new as Joanna Cole, and that's Wendy Schumacher, who I'll talk about here in a second. And I haven't confirmed this. Well, I'll get to it. But all right, so 1996, Animal Instincts 3, or Animal Instincts The Seductress, follows an exhibitionist female author, Joanna Cole from the previous films, is drawn to a blind voyeur record producer. Her exhibitionist tendencies draw the interest of his musical clients and leads to visual fireworks. Her sexual romps takes place in view of her blind lover, but does he see more than he lets on? Spoiler alert, he does. So, all right, so this is notable for, well, Wendy Schumacher. Now, I have not confirmed this, so please don't take this as fact, because I knew she was in this one. Like, this is one that I actually remembered a little bit better for whatever reason. It's still probably been a long time since I've seen it, but I was a little confused because I was like looking up the notes and who was in the movie to sort of jog my memory, and I was like, Wendy Schumacher replaced Shannon Whirry, didn't she? And I kept seeing Alexander Keefe. Now, I did a little bit of digging, and this is just coming from some random internet thing, so this may not be true at all, but it did give me the impression that Wendy Schumacher may have transitioned. Now, again, that's just somebody on the internet. I am not saying that's the truth. I thought it was just a pseudonym myself, although I didn't think she used one for this.
Yeah,
So
I know. There's something like, and the IMDb doesn't really fill you in much, other than it's an
yeah,
alternate
yeah,
name.
and I feel like that wasn't always the case. So I don't know. Wendy Schumacher sort of dropped off the face of the earth pretty much. Well, I say that. I mean, not dropped off the face of the earth. She just left acting. She only did about a dozen things. But I do remember her well. I mean, as far as more softcore goes, she did Scorn 2. But she also was a Fred Olen Ray girl. She did Fugitive Rage, which is an action movie with fellow softcore goddess, one I really love, Shauna O'Brien. She'll
Mm.
come up on the show at some point. She did Star Hunter for Fred Olen Ray. She was in also Fred Olen Ray's Capital Conspiracy, which starred Don the Dragon Wilson and, of all people, Barbara Steele. She also did Countermeasures for Fred Olen Ray, The Escort 2, another softcore thing. Short career, but memorable. She always kind of gave me this Gina Davis vibe. Kind of resembled a little bit Gina Davis, which is a very good thing, at least in my book. I think Gina Davis is a spectacularly beautiful woman to this day. This one also very sad too, because when I was kind of diving into this, and I forgot she passed, but a '90s hardcore starlet, Jen Teal, which,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you sadly passed away in 2020,
Oh, wow.
some sort of surgery gone wrong. She did some of the Where the Boys Aren't movies, which were popular. The Stardust series, where she played Honey Potts. Sex Academy 4, The Art of Anal. Not to, these are funny titles, obviously, but rest in peace. Very, very pretty girl, very talented. And I'm sad to say that she passed away. The '90s kind of go forgotten for a lot of the more hardcore fare. It's just stuff. A lot of stuff really didn't make the transition to DVD, and well, very little of anything made the transition to Blu-ray. But she is in this playing Lollipop. Hard to distinguish between some of her hardcore characters. So this one has, it's going to sound like a backhanded compliment, because I do mean it as a criticism. This has some of the most annoying motherfuckers to ever step foot in any kind of an erotic thriller. James Matthew, who plays Alex Savage, our supposed blind man, I can't even describe how annoying he is. He does like some of these random dances for no reason, like literally like just this, like in the middle of dialogue. I can't describe it. Dude is annoying as shit. But there's a goofiness about this one because we also get who I have no doubt is Todd's favorite, Marcus Graham playing Stone Chill, who is a who is a rapper who at 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 one at one point has he just well oh god, we get another annoying rapper in this one though too, who randomly bangs Wendy Schumacher in the kitchen right in front of Alex. There's these scenes where it's just like, and everybody assumes he's
Hey,
blind, so he's just getting his jollies while like. But
that's
yet,
how
I still don't feel a lot of people are banging 2 feet from a blind person.
hey, that's how we rolled in the 90s. Come on.
Yeah, well, we know what Todd was up to. Yeah, Shane Hooligan, I think, was that guy. But yeah, Stone Chill. Uh,
I think I'm going to steal his rap CD name, by the way.
there, yeah. Uh, he just ran like he's sitting there at the table and he just writes bitch show me your titties on a napkin and passes it to her while Alex is talking to her. Then he just randomly punches out the other dude at the table. What's that? He's like, nothing. Keep going.
I'm
I
just going
can't
to assume
describe it.
I'm just going to assume this is how Gregory Dark thinks rappers act, but when they're off not rapping.
Yeah, you're just like stabbing or pulling a Me Too on,
Well, it
on
was the
women.
90s. I mean, it may not be too far off.
None of this is really sinister because it's just too stupid to be sinister. But yeah, some of the most annoying dudes in this. Now, Wendy Schumacher, goddamn, a great display of Wendy Schumacher. It's hard to replace Shannon Whirry, but I think she does a pretty nice job. Uh, I do recommend checking out some of her other work. Like I said, she's just one of those dozen or so projects, including some shorts. So wasn't around long, but she did make an impression. Uh, this one made me laugh. It's really, really inept. Like this one's a bad movie, but a bad movie that delivers the skin, so you can't criticize it too much. We also, for full moon fans,
Are
get
you
to
listening,
check.
Blum? Throw some titties in it, Dad. Can't criticize too much.
Bloom is just there. I have the formula. Flesh Wound Dan's not gonna talk shit about me ever again. We're gonna have like full on penetration in in Halloween Ends again. It's like he's gonna Michael's just gonna rise out of the grave and bend Laurie over. We'll get into. But this one now, see what really though, in terms of the steamy stuff, this has a scene with Gentile, Wendy Schumacher, and another lady, and it's hot. It's a hot tub scene with all the ladies. Now, Jacqueline Lavelle, if
Took Dan 3 weeks to watch all these, by the way.
pretty much, yes. So this has been in the works since 2021. But Jacqueline Lavelle, if you're a full moon fan, of course, Femalian, which if you want to talk Mount Rushmore of softcore, I gotta put Femalian up there. But also just all the great full moon movies she did, which we talk a lot about full moon on here. I won't bore you with that, but yeah, no dialogue, but she's in a damn hot scene in Animal Instincts 3. And that hot tub scene is legendary and really cool. The movie is stupid, but it's got the skin and it made me laugh. So, in some ways, this could end up being a lot of people's favorite. The other two, if you're just looking for, you got to be just in the mood for skin. 3, The Seductress, I think will actually make you laugh and maybe even entertain you more, even though the quality was definitely going downhill. It's a much cheaper movie. What did you think overall, Todd?
Yeah, I already brought up, Stone Chill puts it over for me. But honestly, it's just because like this is how white people think that they're supposed to act and wrote this out. It's like Jesus Christ. We get a Pac and a Snoop name drop. But the blind dude, like you mentioned, dancing during that whole the rap part. It was bad, but in a good way. So
The the whole thing, like Trick Willie, the pop star, he sucked too. Like just some of the most annoying human beings ever to be put in a movie. But once again, now I'm gonna be brutally honest. Like so far, if you're kind of keeping score of what we've done, these are no body chemistries. The body chemistries I think are pretty good, pretty damn good movies with just some a lot of um, steamy stuff, but not really not as much in the way of nudity, really compared to these. But um, yeah, so what do you rate this one? Because I
it's
guarantee, I know it's probably your favorite, even though it's the worst of the three.
I still think the first is my favorite, but for laughs, I think I get where. But it's not a good movie. That's where I get torn on. Honestly, if I'm balancing it out, I got to go right in the middle. While it entertained me, you know what? No, I'm gonna give it a 3 because average is 2.
I've got to
3.
give it, yeah. I'll go 3 too because it does also have one of the steamier scenes in the series as far as that hot tub scene. And you got Jacqueline Lavelle, Gentile, Wendy Schumacher all together. And that for a lot of people, that's the big thing you're looking for. So Animal Instinct 3, The Seductress, I had a lot of fun with it. So in closing, check out Wendy Schumacher's stuff. And once again, that could just be some random internet dude, but it is odd because I feel like I don't think she had pseudonyms.
Hopefully, by the time we do the Scorn films, we'll have some more answers.
Yeah, or if you have any like update on Wendy Schumacher, I'd be curious because again, she just kind of left the business, so I don't know what she's up to now. I don't think she could be on social media. I mean, I don't think she's on my social media. So yeah, like to see an update. Cool, short little career. Did some fun stuff, particularly with Fred Olin Ray.
Either way, we hope they are doing fine.
Yeah, what like I said, I don't know that that's true, so I'm gonna just say Wendy Schumacher for now. But at least somebody out there is saying that. So
At the time of the movie was made, you would be correct either way.
absolutely, yeah. And I'll dig a little deeper. Maybe there's like newer photos of her out there, or him. I don't know what the case is, but yeah, if you're aware, let us know in the comments because I'm curious. I like looking up some of these ladies who just kind of, I mean, sometimes, and I think even Jim Wynorski talked about this in an interview once. Like they stick around just long enough to make a name, but they really only do a handful of films and then are just gone. They either
get married off.
get married, yeah, name change, maybe get married multiple times, and nobody knows where they are. So, Wendy, if you're out there and you see this, we love you. On that note, that's all I got. Patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures. It all starts at just $1. And you get more extra content, more uncensored, exclusive stuff. We go a little bit harder on Patreon, so I think that's worth it, and we appreciate your support very much. Shout out to our newer patrons, Orc, hitting that $10 tier. We appreciate it very much, Orc, Swaggy G, and anybody that might be new before this airs. On that note,
And all the rest, not just our new ones.
All the rest, yes. And I can't remember. I could try. I'll make a full list at some point and we'll just read everybody off. Also, if you're just randomly stumbling across this video, we are primarily a horror channel, but we also do pro wrestling. We do all kinds of things. So yeah, we got you covered. We got you covered. Flesh Wound Features has you covered for pretty much everything. So check out all our shows, like, share, subscribe. That really helps us out. If you enjoy this content, please hit that thumbs up, hit the notification bell. It makes a huge difference, and we appreciate you very much for doing so. On that note, that's all I've got. Good night.